Hey guys, welcome back to our logarithm review part 3. So I'm going to use this review time to also review transformations. Transformations move and resize graphs of functions. So the two parent functions that we've been dealing with in this logarithmic review are the basic exponential function and logarithmic function. So we just saw in our last video that these functions are inverses of each other. So let's start by graphing this exponential function. So I've set up a table plugging in x and y values. So if I plug in -1, b to the -1 is 1 over b. If I plug in 0, b to the 0 is 1. And if I plug in 1, b to the first power is b. So I remember that exponential equations, there's no exponent I can raise this to that will give me a negative answer or a 0. So I'm going to recognize that there is an asymptote right here on my x-axis. And this asymptote, its equation is y equals 0. So I'm going to plot these points. So here's 0, 1. Let's say -1, 1 over b, and then let's say 1b. So here is my exponential equation. The most important part is 0, 1, right? So now, if I want to graph f of x equals log base b of x, I don't even really need to plug in any values here. I just remember that this function is the inverse of this function. So therefore, my x and y values are going to switch. So now this is going to be -1, 0, 1. And this is going to be 1 over b, 1, and b. So remember that our inverses are just a reflection over this line, y equals x. So the new graph I come up with should be a reflection over that line. So my asymptote here was y equals 0. So if I do the inverse of that, now my asymptote is going to be this line, x equals 0. So don't forget, whenever you have an exponential or logarithmic function, there is an asymptote. Asymptote here is x equals 0 because it reflected over this line, y equals x. So now if I plot these points, 1 over b, -1, 1, 0, 1, b1, right? So now here we go. There's my logarithmic equation. So remember that any exponential or logarithmic function that we see is just a transformation of these two parent graphs. So let's go to the next video to remind ourselves of our rules for transformations of any function.